What's up, guys? We're back, and today we're going to be going over the AAC Conference Tournament. As usual, let's just get straight into it with South Florida versus Eastern Carolina. Um, Again, these brackets always start out with these mediocre teams going up against each other. East Carolina was definitely the better team this year, 16-6 overall, although they did have the worst record in the conference. South Florida does probably have the better player on the court, Tyler Harris, but Eastern Carolina still is a solid team, and I feel like South Florida beat them both times they played each other, and they've ended off a little better, so I feel like I got to go with South Florida here. And we got UCF versus SMU. UCF, they got one of the top prospects, not top prospects in the draft, but one of the better prospects coming into this next draft. Taylor Hendricks. They ended off the season with a win against Eastern Carolina. They beat Tulsa not too long ago. And against SMU, they've won, I believe, both times they played them. Or they only played them once, but they won that one time by a lot. I feel like they can definitely do it again. SMU's not great this year. Then we got Wichita State versus Tulsa. Wichita State ending off the season with a win against South Florida. Before that, they really could be on okay, they won 4 of their last 6, and their only 2 losses are the 2 best teams in this conference by a mile, Houston and Memphis. They beat Tulane, which is a very good win. They beat Temple, which is a very good win. Wichita State is definitely hot right now. And against Tulsa, who, again, is awful. They're on an 11-game losing streak. They're 1-17 in the conference. I feel like Wichita State has just one in the bag. Then we got Houston versus South Florida. Houston. Cincinnati versus Temple. Cincinnati, solid team. Temple, also a solid team. You got Landers Nolly on Cincy, and then Khalif Battle. I think it's Khalif Battle, right? Yeah, Khalif Battle and Damian Dunn on Temple. Temple's had some of those upset games this season. They gave Houston one of their only 2 losses, their only loss in the conference, which is definitely impressive. But recently, I do feel like Cincinnati's probably been the better team. They did just play each other, and Cincinnati won that game in overtime, but they still won. The only tough spot for Cincinnati recently has been a loss against Eastern Carolina, which is definitely not something you want. Overall, Cincinnati does have the better record, 20-11, while Temple is 16-15. Honestly, I feel like Cincinnati has this one. And then we got Memphis versus UCF. Memphis, second best team in this conference. For sure, they have Kendrick Davis, one of the best players in this conference, probably top 3. They also got DeAndre Williams, who's great second man again, along with him. Just sucks. The only thing is Keontae Kennedy is out for the rest of the season, which definitely is going to hurt them. And I don't know about Alex Lomax. I think last time I heard about him, he was injured, but he might be back. Let me check real quick. He played in their last game. They did just lose, but they barely lost to Houston. Okay, yeah, and Lomax played, so he's gonna be back for him. He's a solid player for him. And their only 3 losses recently is Tulane and then Houston. So I feel like against UCF of all teams, they should be able to get it done. Although the 2 times they have played them, they only beat them by 1 the time they won, and then they lost the other time. Still feel like Memphis has this because conference play or conference tournament play is a different beast. Then you got Tulane versus Wichita State. Tulane, again, been a pretty solid team this year. You got Jalen Forbes, Jalen Cook, who else is on the team? Kevin Cross, Zion James. They definitely have a solid team over there. Against Wichita State, they won the first time they played. Recently, they've been on a little bit of a cold streak. They ended off with 2 wins, but those were 2 very close wins. And right before that, they lost 3 straight to Houston, Wichita State, and East Carolina. I know how much I picked these 6 over 3s, so I'm not going to do it here. I'm going to go with Tulane. Still believe they're the better team. Then we got Houston versus Cincinnati. Houston. Then we got Memphis versus Tulane. Memphis. This conference is not interesting at all. Houston's going to run through it, and the only competition they have is Memphis. This is probably the closest game I would say, or this is one of the closest games. This is probably like the closest game. But I feel like Memphis and Kendrick Davis are going to be able to outweigh Jalen Cook and Tulane. And they've beat them, I think, both times they played each other. Or no, Tulane has actually won both times they played each other. But Memphis has to figure something out against them. They got to have some kind of game plan to where they're not going to have that happen again. So yeah, now we have Houston versus Memphis. And as much as I might want to pick Memphis here, I feel like Houston's just too good of a team, man. They've only lost 2 games on the season, one of them to Alabama, and then the other one to Temple, like we already said. Both times they played Memphis, came at the end of the season. They both won, or they won by 8 the first time, and then 2 the last time on a buzzer beater by Jamal Shed. Memphis is just they just have a really, really good team. You got Marcus Sasser, great lead guard. Jarius Walker, very, very good freshman for him. Gonna be a high pick in this draft. Juwan Roberts, great big for him. And then they got Tremont Mark and Jamal Shed on the wing. Both, again, great players. They just have an amazing defense over there. And this team made it very, very far without their best guys in Marcus Sasser. They didn't have Jarius Walker last year. And they made it to the Elite Eight, I believe. Yeah, they lost to Villanova, but they beat Arizona last year. So yeah, Houston's definitely a great team, especially come March. In the NCAA tournament, I see them going pretty far. And they can definitely beat Memphis, and I got them winning the AAC conference tournament. Yeah, that is all for this conference. Up next will be the MAC, the MAC, or the Mid-American, I think. Other than that, if you want to see any of my other brackets, they're all posted before this one. But yeah, other than that, I will see you guys later.